A lot of people enjoyed this series that I recently casted, featuring the young Zerg player, currently 17 years old. We're looking here inside of the main base of GgMaChine. Now I'm gonna spoil my previous video, but GgMaChine managed to take down MaxSpecs 2-0 in straight up macro games. What? Nobody beats MaxSpecs in straight up macro games. How in the world is a 17-year-old getting the job done? So I figured it would be fun to see how well he can fare against a previous world champion of StarCraft 2. Playing in blue, we have ByuN, one of the world's very best Terrans, of course. So let's see. Again, a Terran player, or I guess a StarCraft opponent right here for GgMaChine, who you're not just gonna be able to cheese, right? Like, we see this every once in a while. Somebody who's new to the game, or at least at the pro level, they're new to that like level of play. They can get a couple of quick wins by pulling out a cheeky cheese, right? Maybe like a Nidus all-in or a proxy hatchery or something along those lines. That happens. But being able to beat macro monsters, like for example MaxSpecs, like for example ByuN at their own game, like that's incredibly difficult to pull off. ByuN's going command center first here. Now he knows of GgMaChine's reputation as a bit of a macro player, so I'm not really too surprised to see this, but ByuN is apparently immediately playing a legit game. It would be very tempting to just go for your most, well, straightforward approach, right? Just go into your barracks first, then the command center. No reason to go and take any risks, but apparently ByuN is happy to just, take a bit of a gamble here and go for the CC first, and it will pay off, because we have a hatchery first as well on the side of GgMaChine, who's now following this up with a spawning pool as well as a Vespian gas geyser. So in case you haven't really heard of this man before, it's probably because he's relatively new to playing at this level. I heard of his name for the very first time a couple years back during the junior championships. He was very good already at the time, but recently it seems like he has taken the step from being really good to being like really good. And there's a difference between that. Being a rank 50 Grandmaster is obviously really impressive, but you're not going to be able to take down the absolute top dogs. It's brutal. StarCraft 2 is an extremely top-heavy game. If you are a top 10 player on the planet, you will hardly ever struggle against somebody at rank 50. And that's just simply the case with any competition. The top 10 are just simply better. Even the top 3 are significantly better than the top 10, right? Like, it's extremely hard to be able to break into those upper echelons. And it seems that GgMaChine is currently making that step from, being a extremely good player to really being able to compete with the very best. And what's pretty exciting, of course, is that he's still very young. So that means that this is very unlikely to be his peak. So let's find out. Once more, opting to go and play the macro game. If we wanted to go for something aggressive, you would likely already expect a potential Roach Warren, or at the very least the gas, to be continued mining, but that's not the case at all. This is a third hatchery before metabolic boost. All of this is very macro oriented here. Triple CC built as well for ByuN, enjoying the 100 minerals that he's saving on that command center right now. So this is triple CC, triple Rex. It does mean that you delay yourself a little bit with the medevac production in particular. And maybe most importantly, and that is one of the things that really did impress me in that series that GgMaChine played against MaxSpecs, you don't get any Hellions out. And Hellions aren't really that useful for killing workers, at least not at this level, but they're really good at controlling the creep spread. And in that series against MaxSpecs, GgMaChine, man, he was creeping up the entirety of the map. So let's see. Let's find out. Can he really pull this sort of thing off against ByuN? This is a very momentum-heavy playstyle in general. So once ByuN starts attacking, he will likely not really stop. We have a second tech lab here inside of the main base too, so I'm assuming we're going to be adding on the combat shields in just a moment. A couple of Zerglings now are scouting it, and I think just off of the number of Marines, you should be able to tell here, as the Zerg player, that this is indeed going to be a triple Rex. It could be a double Rex as well. But the approach is mostly the same. You need to make sure that you have some Zerglings out. Usually, especially against like a 16 Marine drop, like the old school one, you would need at least like 30 Zerglings. So I wouldn't mind seeing, indeed a couple of rounds of Zerglings right now on the production tab. And grab all of the control on the map back once more. Apparently Jimmy, he drew the shortest straw. Jimmy, go take the watchtower. Just hold it. Jimmy, just hold it. Just shoot at anything you see. All right. Poor Jimmy did not quite make it. It's a Zergling, Lester. Maybe his name is Lester. Smaller tap of Zerg. Well, he did get the one Zergling down. But other than that, it's going to be difficult for ByuN to move out right now without being seen. I do really like the +1 carapace, actually. So this is the upgrade that was made a bit cheaper on the new patch. Used to be 150 minerals and gas. Now it's 100 minerals and 100 gas. So the same price as Zergling's... well, Zergling speed as well, but Zergling's +1 melee as well as the +1 missile. So usually this is really nice to get reasonably early now. Still though, that's so many Marines. And they're gonna hit a big power spike. So, combat shields were found in their back pockets. They decided to equip it. That's +10 HP. And then also Stimpak is going to be available. Keep in mind though, this could be a one-way trip. I like sort of fighting on this ramp to make sure that there's not really that much lost surface area. But GgMaChine does not want this army to go home. Stim gets activated. Zerglings go in around the back. Okay, yeah. Jimmy and the boys are not going home. So was that worthwhile? Was this bloodbath worth it? The main issue you run into right now as ByuN is that you do give up the map control for a while. This is negative momentum, right? You end up going into an additional command center. So this is already command center number 4. It's very early. Now he's going to get medevac production out. And while he did have a nice scan denying the creep spread, Zerg is now going to be able to get back to their own creep spread production a lot. And you already see some of that multitasking kicking in. Let's actually watch a little bit of first-person view. So this is what GgMaChine is looking at whilst playing the game. Talking to a few pro gamers as well. They've been impressed by this, man. And that is really the highest honor you can have. Other players that are established being impressed by what you do. It reminds me a lot of when MaxSpecs first got good at the game. People were kind of rumoring that MaxSpecs was really good too. And then obviously he managed to break into that #1 Protoss position for quite a while. And he's obviously one of the most established players at this point in time. Oof. But in order to impress the pro gamers, generally speaking, you have to be a macro god. If you're a cheesy guy, they're not gonna be, they're not really gonna be most impressed by you. But if you can legitimately win macro games, that's usually the way to get the job done. Medevac drop has to be picked up yet again. Yeah, I don't really mind this spot here for ByuN all too much though. He's already got a super greedy 4th command center. The fact that he already built that before the 2nd factory is kind of nuts. That's actually a difference, I guess, now that the command centers are cheaper. Normally what you do is you go command center after factory, but this is ByuN now going command center before factory. Planetary Fortress is now more expensive, so it's 100 minerals more than it was in the past. Yeah, you do have to make one though over at the 4th base. A little bit of first-person view as well for ByuN. Oh, he already is going for what seems to be a forward push towards that rich Vespian gas geyser. That will probably be where his 5th base is going to be eventually. Hitting a little bit of a supply block here. He should really be powering out a couple more of those depots. Not a bad idea. Scan does reveal roughly what's going on. Medevac does get unloaded as well on the left side of the map. Zerg does decide to back up once more. Medevac drop is in between the mineral fields, but GgMaChine all over that as well. Okay. Another command center. Hive added into the mix. A lurker den also coming up. And this is very similar to the MaxSpec series, turning into a bit of a macro game. Again, it's very much so the Terran forcing this out. Zerg appears to be embracing it though, so far. We can go into the Nidus Worms. You can go into the Lurker Nidus Worm style. Planetary is already done here. A little too late for those links. Yeah, they're certainly not going to be able to get the kill. Should probably be backing off, but I guess there's a drop over here that's being a nuisance. And you know what? Zerg can't reach that. Beautiful little pick-off right there by ByuN. Yeah. He's stuck. Not enough Hydras available, man. That's such a rough loss. Losing both of your Evo chambers. You wanted to keep them as safe as possible, so you walled them in. And then it turns out the men with guns show up. Just about the perfect snipe, actually, for ByuN. Because that completely takes the wind out of the Zerg sails. That at least sets Zerg back by like a minute. Okay. Now, it does appear, though, that the follow-up plan is just to play macro anyways. Lurkers, while they obviously benefit from upgrades, they don't really care that much. Because Lurkers basically either, like, they have two modes, right? Either they deal a shit ton of damage, or they deal a shit ton of damage, right? That's... Those are your two options with Lurkers. So, it doesn't really matter that much. But... it is nice. Oh, we're going triple Evo now to try and make up for it. It is nice to get those upgrades done sooner rather than later. Still, though, apparently we're still going to commit with a push. This is the type of attack that would normally be able to kill a planetary fortress, and I think we're still going to be able to kill it. Plenty of banelings available to finish the job, and 19 SCVs go down as well. A very mature attack there, I have to say. Spire as well. Siege tank production, triple command center. We do have a couple of spotter units right now for those Nidus. Yep. So Nidus Worm going up inside of the main base. Nothing inside of the Worm just yet. Nothing inside of the network. But at the very least, this is going to force the Terran to keep on their toes. And maybe to even leave like a pack of units in the back of the Terran's main. So maybe the Zerg main push over here can indeed get some work done. Hydra's dash forward. Ling Bane rolls through as well. Planetary Fortress not yet done. As a matter of fact, it gets cancelled. I'm so impressed by GgMaChine, man. Like, genuinely, if you were to cover up the username, who do you think this would be? The only blunder that we've seen so far is putting the double Evo chambers behind the but whatever, right? Like, that's a mistake that happens. Those Evo chambers could have been placed anywhere else. It's so fast. Look at the creep spread. It's honestly a very refined playstyle. Huh. 3-3 though is miles ahead right now for ByuN. Let's see if he can really get some value out of it. The main problem he's running into is that he does not have a reliable counter against Vipers and against Lurkers and against really anything. Yeah, there's so much creep that even if he wanted to go for a push right now... Oh, he's move commanding into it. Even if he wanted to go for a push, he needs to carve a path. Baneling going in around the site. Nice movement here by ByuN across the board. Orbital command seems like it will live for now, assuming it does get a repair. Yo, we have SCVs returning minerals to the command center, but maybe we should repair it up as well. Hello, ByuN. Hello, ByuN. Oh, no. Just heal it! Alright. Whew, that was close. Zergling scouting as well on the right side. The triple Evo, though, kicking in very nicely now. So much production. Nidus Worm in the back of the Terran's natural, too. This reminds me a lot of, like, a faster Solar. Can I say that? Retreating, honestly, like, retreating is another hallmark of a great player. I never really back off of fights myself when I play StarCraft. I'm very pot committed, I guess, if we want to use poker terms. I get too curious about how it how it will work out. So even if I see it's not likely gonna go well, I will still just send it. It's really dumb, and I know this is a problem. Oh, here we go again. Retreating is honestly a sign of a really good player. Yeah, he's just picking off whatever he can get, but then backing. And look at the creep spread, man. It's so incredibly oppressive. ByuN wants to grab this base, but he can't because there's a Zerg army. And then also creep on top of it. Likewise as well for the forward expansion here. Likewise for the right side in about a minute. We have Zerg already taking a base in the far upper right. Seriously, look at this. Look at the freaking minimap. We're 14 minutes in. What? Huh. I think this is also where ByuN is like, yo, wait a second. What's happening right now? I need to step up a little bit. We need to make sure that we get our command center count under control. But this is what happens when you give GgMaChine an eye, right? Like or a finger rather. He will take your whole... Well, if I want to stay with the eye analogy, he will grab your entire face. Now, you give him a finger, he grabs your entire arm here. ByuN's saying, yo, I'm going to play macro. Join me. He's like, all right, don't mind if I do. Mass research as well. So very soon, killing those 2 Evo chambers is irrelevant. Yeah, you still have to be careful, though. ByuN is playing this out really nicely. The main problem you run into as a Terran player is that in the long run, you do need the map's resources, right? So the gold base is already being harvested by the Zerg. This is also supposed to be a Zerg expansion, or a Terran expansion rather. Zerg mining this is huge. I would love to see drones transferred on over. Here we go, though. We already have the loving embrace of the Ling Hydra Viper army moving through. Nidus Worm in the back of the Terran's main base, too. Currently not really filled up with anything just yet. We have a counterattack by ByuN in the far bottom left. Trying to stay toe-to-toe, and he will be able to shut down this base, I believe. Nidus Worm is up, by the way. Double orbital inside of the main base. We don't actually have any Vipers, or any lurkers, rather. So, yeah, getting those lurkers up would be nice. Hydra's going in around the site. Blinding Cloud would be massive. So many siege tanks, though. There's actually 12 siege tanks in this game. Okay. Up until this point, it's been 55 dead SCVs. What? I thought if you were to ask me, I think I would have guessed about 30. 55 is a lot. Huh. All right, he's been climbing, I guess, in that department, but ByuN has been rebuilding really quickly, too. Hatchery taken here on the far right is still not fully saturated. I really think this is like a oversight, like it's easily forgotten about. But if the game indeed does go the distance, this is one of those key expansions. So taking drones from your third base to send them over towards the Terran's base, right? The base that should be the Terran's, is a no-brainer in my mind. The way that Serral usually does it is by putting a Nidus Worm between the 2 bases to connect them and then transfer the workers in between. But anyways, here we go again. Planetary Fortress set up over here at the front. Huge Hydralisk Concave as well. Massive Blinding Clouds disabling so much of the Terran. Zerg does have a very high amount of supply dedicated to workers. So that's why he couldn't really break through any easier than that. He's retaking the base over here on the left. Terran is trying to now finally get rid of some of this creep that's been oppressing and pretty much just surrounding him on the right side of the map. Okay, hatchery is indeed not gonna get cancelled. We have building armor, high-sec auto-tracking as well coming up for ByuN. This is usually what you do when you recognize the game is going the distance, when you have money to spare. Absolute no-brainer. Dude, he takes this base? He's giving up, I guess, on the bottom left. Again, man. Dude. It's so aggressive. The Hydra movement is so smooth. Say goodbye to the orbital. And because he's carving a path through all of this Terran infrastructure, it will likely be a while before ByuN will even check for this type of base. A couple more drones are being sent forward. Oh, he scans. He scans. Okay. Important scan, honestly, for ByuN. Those are the bases you cannot really let go. While it's debatable whether or not Terran should have this one, I don't think there's really any question that this is indeed one of the Terran's expansions. Maybe he's just grabbing it, though, to antagonize the Terran, right? To force him to come out and play. Potentially even on creep. Okay. Looks like the game has slowed down just a bit. If we look at the resources lost, though, already, right? It's heavily in favor of the Terran. EMP to shut down one of the Vipers, but there's still enough for a Blinding Cloud available. I really like the usage of the Hydralisk dash ability. I feel like this is an afterthought for most Zerg players, but GgMaChine is using it a lot. Most of the time, this is used as a way to, like, slide out of an engagement, right? It's not really used as a way to get into the fight more aggressively, but he keeps using it like that. Dude, we do it again. No cancel because of it. Those Hydras show up just a smidge earlier. Huh. Friendly fire by the siege tank. Wanted to kill the, but accidentally also shot at the SCV. Here's the drone transfer. Yo, he's taking what is normally the 5th base of Terran. I'm starting to get nerd chills. I had this last time when he played against Mech Specs. The scary part is that this is by no means his final form. Like, there's no way you've peaked at 17 years old. I don't believe it. There's, by the way, this expansion too. Oh yeah, he was also, I guess, just looking at the minimap. Not yet taking the more easily acquired bases. Okay. This base is huge, though. Even if now the gold is going to be taken by ByuN. Honestly, yeah, he's going to try and grab it. Honestly, I don't really hate it that much here for GgMaChine at all. Because he's giving the Terran the gold. But then he's taking 2 of the other bases. Taking this forward expansion is going to be really difficult for ByuN. He can't really do so until he mines out this entire expansion, I'm pretty sure. Because as soon as he look at the minimap, by the way. This is what happens, I guess, when you have a million orbital commands. We can just scan everywhere. But taking this base is going to require, I think, the entirety of the Terran's army. Zerg, though, is not just going to give up on this expansion in the bottom left. We're once more cycling through all of this. There is a secondary army, too, for the Zerg on the far right. You do have to be careful, though, that you don't get carried away here. While I like these type of engagements quite a bit... Ha! He burrowed Banes as well during all of it. That's so spicy. Can maybe even catch the SCV transfer if you're really lucky. But yeah, this is what happens, right? So that was a little too aggressive by the Zerg. ByuN immediately capitalizes on it. In the meantime, though, here's that secondary Zerg army. -1 orbital command. Nice snipe, though, on this base here by the Terran. Finally getting a bit of work done. Yo, there's 4 Banelings here. Do you unburrow? That's so many mules, no? He doesn't want to just have that. I think he's using this as a way to retreat right now. Oh, there we go. Did decide to detonate. He's going to be able to get the SCVs and the mules regardless. Couple Corruptors added into the mix as well. Man, he's microing all these fights. What's the APM? 485. Jeez. I will bestow upon GgMaChine the title of Gamer. Yeah, it is the highest honor I can give to anybody. But he is indeed an absolute gamer. Huge. Pushing ByuN to the absolute limit. And honestly, quite frankly, dominating him so far. Now, this is not over yet. I think this is too early. The Brute Lord switch? Normally you do this after the map is mined out. Maybe this is just like a couple of them for now, like 7 of them to try and push for this base. But the main issue you run into if you switch too early is that the immobility of the army becomes problematic. Immediately, it's going to be much harder to deal with little run-bys like this. It's just a lot of supply caught up to units that aren't really that useful. Because Brute Lords by themselves can get countered pretty hard. This is nice by ByuN. I really like this. The drones did move on over towards the other base, and I guess we're gonna just retake the edge. Terran army's gone, don't mind me. Ghost trying her best, misrallied actually by ByuN. ByuN is not in a particularly smooth position here, right? Like, unable to max out. 162 supply. Abduction on the Vikings to kill them with the Hydras? Sure. Normally we do Corruptors. You know, the unit that is dedicated to air defense. Anyways. Oh, he gets the extra one. Overextension yet again by ByuN. He gets punished immediately. Here goes the Marines, though. The Brute Lord transition is early, no? I guess he saw the siege tank count and he decided to just try it out. I don't hate it. Here's the Corruptor showing up. ByuN is going to be able to max out again, though. And with 10 orbital commands, you really don't need a lot of SCVs. 45 SCVs seems just about right with 10 orbitals. Mules, by the way, on golden minerals mine the exact same amount as they do on blue mineral fields. In the early days of StarCraft 2, dropping mules on gold bases was absolutely busted. They fixed that after a couple years. Yeah, the siege tanks here are having a good time. But still, if you look at the minimap right now, right? Like, if all of the bases that are currently taken by the players mine out, I mean, obviously, it's going to be a massive advantage for Zerg. I think the Brute Lords are too early. This is like a last-ditch type of thing. Once you have mined out the map, and once you have taken all of the map's resources, that's usually the Brute Lord Infestor transition right there. But when there's still a lot of mining going on, I think we need to be very careful, because Brute Lords are just not a mobile unit. Okay. Let's see, though. ByuN is very marine heavy, by the way. A little bit too marine heavy for this stage in the game. Yeah, he's got like no marauders at all. 38 marines, 20 ghosts. Cost efficiency, though, is getting kind of out of hand. More than triple digits, by the way. Oh, huge fuck. Oh, Bailing! Trying to reach, not gonna happen. Snipies will indeed still connect. Brute Lord's too slow to get away. Marines get underneath. Blinding Cloud is nice, but this is an overextension by GgMaChine for sure. And that was exactly what ByuN was hoping for. Perfect fight for Terran. Perfect fight. I think he got a little overeager. Yeah, I think the switch to Brute Lords was like 10 minutes too soon. Easy fix, though. Look at ByuN. Oh, that's so many Banelings wasted for 6 Marines. Okay. That makes everything a lot more comfortable right here for Terran. But still, the income situation is problematic here for ByuN. He's gonna run out of steam over the next few minutes. He needs another base. The bottom left is out, so we're gonna have to, I guess, reconsider taking the right side of the map. This base is doable. This expansion is also doable, but I guess we could choose to expand forward? I don't believe ByuN has enough to really make a death blow and go and win. GgMaChine may have thrown away a large army. He may have lost more than 22,000 minerals than his opponent. 6,000 or so gas, it's a lot. But he still has money because he's had so much of the map. Here we go. We're going back to Hydraling. Yeah, Hydraling Bane with Infestors for support. That Brute Lord shenanigans did cost him most of the bank, though. Important to keep in mind. Ooh. Fungal Growth somehow overshooting against a lot of the units, but the Hydra Dash does close the distance. Zerglings in the main base, extremely annoying to deal with. Getting Lings in the main like this is extremely tough for Terran. You just lose all of the units as soon as they pop out. ByuN at 135 supply, 28 minutes into the game. Still, though, the army here for ByuN is good enough for sure. Yeah, GgMaChine has too much spent. Like, he spent too many minerals. Now would be a good time to go Brute Lords. After the Hydraling Bane army was gone, that's when we go Brute Lords. Even right now would be too early, assuming we had a bit of a bank. It's also important to keep your cool, right? When you're going up against a world-class Terran. I wonder if at some point it goes through your head like, wait, I'm actually doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Wait a second. I'm actually doing it. There's no way I'm doing it. Right? And then it turns out maybe you're not doing it. ByuN does finally lose the gold base, but the gold base was no longer important. Here goes the Terran on a rampage. Takes down 2 bases already. Yeah. And this is now knocking the Zerg's economy down to the Stone Age as well. It's really only this base that's giving him some form of income. We do need to see ByuN, though, taking another base. Honestly, do you become neighbors right now with the Zerg? Do you take the forward expansion? A couple of links still being annoying. He's burrowed a Zergling here too for 143 mineral fields. I don't think ByuN is likely to be sending a command center to mine that out. He did scan, by the way, got rid of the creep tumor. That means that the creep will slowly become available. ByuN decides to go with the safer option. Even though he has about 1 million command centers, apparently old main base has to be sent out to the front lines again. My god, that orbital command was ready for retirement, man. Back on the horse you go. Just got attacked as well by Zerglings. Bro, this guy was retired for like 20 minutes in this game. You could hear it. You could hear it squeak when it flew on over here. That's rough. What isn't rough, though, is the amount of minerals that those units are gonna return. Alright, contamination, but I don't think we're really gonna be producing a lot of SCVs here. ByuN is double expanding now. Yeah, he did, by the way, still take one of the orbital commands from the main base. Don't know why we chose that one. What I'm a little bit afraid of, though, all jokes aside, is that while GgMaChine had full control of this game at about minute 20, it is slipping out of his hands. ByuN has done a phenomenal job grabbing everything back once again. I think he probably was a little bit flabbergasted by how dominant the Zerg player was approaching, but the Brute Lord transition was too early. It gave ByuN a lot more mobility again. And while maybe he ultimately killed the siege tank count in the bottom left, that was hardly, what ByuN was worried for. But that's a very fixable mistake. I'm pretty sure he will look at that and think to himself, yo, this is not what I was supposed to do. Let's make that switch on over a little bit later next time around. And I think if he would have done that, this game would have looked very different. Zerg base taken here again. This is, I think, the third try on this particular base. But now it's becoming a bit of a desperation play. He did also retake the expansion that was previously lost, though, over here on the bottom left-hand corner. Here we go. Hydra's trying their best, but there's just such a large Terran army. Love the addition of the missile turrets as well, just to spot any burrowed infestors, for example, but also just to get the heads up that the Zerg is approaching. He can constantly scan here. Good snipe. Excellent snipe. That's -1 infestor. Oh, okay. Wanted to apparently get greedy and get an overseer as well for his troubles. Now suddenly, though, ByuN is 50 supply up. And this is not the late game unit composition you want to sit on as the Zerg, right? So even though this is the patch where we have far less Vespian gas in the ultimate late game, somehow GgMaChine has managed to rake in 3,500 in the bank. It's just too early of a Brute Lord switch that he ended up going for. GG gets gold. It's ByuN who wins game number 1. So how many units actually died here in the end? It's always an interesting moment whenever my observer interface bugs out, because there's 4 digits worth of Zerglings that have died. Okay, that takes us to Sanctuary 3. Game number 2 in this best of 3 series. Now let's see. Can you put yourself over a loss like that? Because you're not just going to win as a professional player. Being an emotional player can actually work in your favor. We have quite a few top ranking players in StarCraft 2 that are pretty emotional. I think historically, though, the absolute best players that we've had in SC2 are usually able to tune that part out. It doesn't sound like a good thing, but it's very easy to, I guess, get stuck in like a rut, right? Like you lose the first game after winning. So GgMaChine did like 95% of the hard work, and then he jumped the gun with the Brute Lord transition and kind of threw the game. It happens, right? Those things happen. Can you put yourself past that? It's very much so something you can train, but a lot of it, again, is experience. Let me put a sticker down. Wait, what? Wait a second. In that series against MaxSpecs that I saw him play, he had a Juicebox sticker, which was definitely the European server. Then he played a series against Hero, and he had a Zerg icon as the sticker. Did he change the sticker in between games, or are we on the Asian server? We should definitely not be playing ByuN on the Asian server. That is home field advantage for Terran so hard. Huh. If this is indeed the Korean server that Machine is playing on here, that would be kind of stupid, honestly. Because you end up, I don't really know where he's located, right? Like maybe he's somewhere on the eastern part of Russia. I have no idea. But the ping would just be massively in favor of Terran. I don't know. Anyways, usually the main thing, right, in StarCraft 2 when we have Europeans, or depends on again where you're located in Russia, but usually EU going up against Korea means NA server. It is the fairest thing to do, even though it's obviously kind of rough for both. But if ByuN is able to play this game with like 10 ping, and then GgMaChine is at like 250 to 300 or so, that is obviously quite a big deal. Anyways, it's gonna be a command center first here for the Terran on the low ground. Bit greedy. Don't mind it. Especially when you're 1-0 up. Especially when you're going up against a macro machine. What do we think of the username, by the way? GgMaChine. It is kind of funny because a lot of players choose their StarCraft 2 username, and maybe unintentionally the name that they're known by at the age of like 8. I think a lot of us have done that, right? We choose our gamer tag when we make our first RuneScape character or whatever. And now that's our username that we have for all of eternity. Obviously, a lot of players have changed their usernames as well over the years. A lot of the Koreans actually also just like running their name. Not a bad idea. ByuN famously used to play under the ID excrement. I'm not joking. I guess he just thought that this was a cool English word. Maybe somebody explained to him what excrement meant, because he switched away from that. But ByuN's actual name, I think ByuN is his family name, so that's just his name, right? Easy username in that regard. ByuN also played, according to his Wikipedia, under the username of Puppy King. Oh, I actually remember. He used to have a really cute dog. I don't know if he still has it. He used to post selfies all the time on Twitter of him holding his dog. He also apparently played under the username Bleach. A true anime enjoyer, I guess. But yeah, GgMaChine, pretty decent username. But it does kind of sound to me like a username you pick at a young age, and then, you know, now you're kind of stuck with it. +1 armor, again, it's the very first research inside of the Evo chamber. I kind of like it. I like the +1 armor first. I think against Terran it's very good. Against Protoss it's not as important, but it's not a bad idea. Overlord is gonna get popped. Creep tumor snipe as well, not bad. So usually against fast attacking units, armor upgrades are good, right? So obviously against Marines, you get a lot of benefit. If you compare the firepower of a Marine to like an Immortal, obviously the Immortal is not gonna trigger the +1 armor upgrade that significantly. This is a good drop again though for ByuN. ByuN putting in a bit of work right now. Interestingly enough, he only went for a handful of Hellions here. The Hellions have been quite annoying in this game, but this is not really a number of Hellions that's going to be able to put in too much damage. Although, again, yeah, just any creep tumor snipes is a big deal, man. I feel like that may be the key to try and keep GgMaChine occupied, because if you give him, again, a little bit of wiggle room, he's going to creep up the entire map. What are we doing now? Are we gonna lose this hatch? Oh no, things may be falling apart. He's got a good worker count. Losing the 4th is not the end of the world. But it is gonna now allow ByuN a much more comfortable game. Gets an Overlord here as well. Yeah, this is a far worse start here for the Zerg than what we had in the previous one. Certainly not insurmountable, but it is definitely something to keep in the back of your mind. Because ByuN is going to be able to now get that positive momentum going. Whereas in the previous game, he was kind of huddled up against the wall. Just pushed back all the way to the natural and the third. And he was just, yeah, forced to sit there and take a beating. Now he's the one that gets to decide the pacing of the match. Good pickup. Liberator being annoying. Again, the SimCity here I don't love. This is another little pocket, man. Another little pocket for Marines to drop off into and kill 2 of those Evo chambers. And then also a Baneling nest if you're lucky. We saw that going wrong in the previous game. Now, I don't think Hydroling Bane has really any weaknesses. But I also do think if you want to play at the absolute highest level, that you need to be capable of playing multiple playstyles. So Hydroling Bane into Ultras would be kind of sick here. Or some sort of Muta build I would have really liked to see. It seems like he's, for now at least, a Hydroling Bane specialist. You gotta start somewhere. This is, again, really good, though, for ByuN. Okay. So now we get to see the Zerg player here, playing from a deficit. How do we manage it? Do we just slowly die? Because that's what ByuN would like to see. That's what ByuN is aiming for here. 2-2 is queued up. And ByuN will probably be able to reach a maxed out state by the time that these upgrades are done. Either that, or he can choose to make a lot of command centers. This is, of course, ByuN we're talking about. This time, by the way, he did go second factory before, yeah, 4th CC. Curious as to why. Why did we go 4th CC before second factory last game, and then this time around we do it the other way around? Not sure. Maybe he was under a lot of pressure here as well and doing a lot of multitasking. Yeah, just going back to the good old comfortable style that he's been playing for a long while, but he probably could have had that 4th CC done a little sooner. Okay. Very far forward with the Widowmine. Ooh, Widowmine as well in the tall grass. Overextension here by ByuN for sure. Gotta be careful with that. Hatchery here in the far bottom right is done as well. Bit of an odd one to be taking at this stage in the game. Maybe not necessarily one that ByuN will be thinking of. Man, we really need a couple of Banes here. Okay. ByuN probably thought the same thing. He's like, well, if he hasn't got any Banes, we'll just have a good time and stim up. Barracks 6, 7, and 8 are now going to be done. And what ByuN could have gone, I think, for an all-out 3-base push, I think it would have been very difficult for the Zerg player to stop. He's giving the Zerg here the benefit of the doubt by just playing a macro game once more. 3-3 needs to be fired up here momentarily. Hive coming up right now for the Zerg player. He's going +1 missile, so I wouldn't be surprised at all as we do now see the 3-3 start, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a Lurker Den again. Then again, he made a Lurker Den last game, and I don't think we saw a single Lurker. I could also go Ultras, though. ByuN finds the base on the right side. He's aiming to try and kill it. Good pickup once more. Individual Marines get dropped off to tank a Baneling hit. Sorry, lads. But it's very cost efficient, okay? Try and explain it to them, I guess. Marines are 50 minerals. Banelings are 50 minerals and 25 gas each. Gas is a very important resource at this stage in the game. Orbital command at the 4th, ByuN? Really? Greedy, greedy, greedy. I feel like it's unnecessarily greedy, too. Anyways, he's gonna be able to grab this base eventually. Maybe not right now, but I don't have high hopes for the future of this expansion. Baneling rollby and Zerglings over here on the left, not quite happening. Yeah, ByuN is shutting GgMaChine down at every stage in the game so far. Fusion Core, second starport. We'll be moving on over to Liberators here, I believe. No Medevacs with this particular army, so okay, they're trailing behind a bit. The Marines and the Marauder are going to be a bit low in HP. Medevac drop yet again over here on the right side. And while GgMaChine is trying his best to keep everything contained, right, and to shut all of this down, ByuN is just on a roll right now. This is like the avalanche of Terran. How in the world are you gonna shut this down? How do you get that momentum back? Because ByuN has effectively been attacking ever since, like, the first Hellions were out. Really, ever since the first units were out in general. He didn't open up Reapers this game, but he's never really let go. And this is what happens when you go up against a world-class Terran. You show him your hand in game number 1. He will adjust. Being flexible is really tough. You gotta do your Zerg yoga. Spore Crawler trying its absolute best. Lurkers coming up. And this is, by the way, something that the Koreans especially are really good at. The Koreans are always very flexible. Usually, the European players are much more rigid in their approach. I would imagine GgMaChine does all of his practice on the EU server. Maybe Lurkers can help, though, with striking back. This is a lot of Lurkers here sieged up. Quite a difficult spot as well. Baneling's going in around the back as well. Zerg's getting this around. Lurkers moving forward. This is one way. This is one way. Oh, I like this. Suddenly showing up with Lurkers like this is extremely dangerous. Liberator count not yet big enough. SCVs get pulled into the spines of the Lurkers. ByuN, though, doesn't really care. All he wants to do is stabilize here. Oh, this is a nice push, though. Credit where credit is due. That was awesome. 89 workers still. The creep spread is kind of like an octopus on the minimap. Who, I guess, whose middle tentacles got cut off. There's like little paths of creep going around. But given a little bit of time, all of this will join together. And Zerg can take the entire map. Okay. This game has suddenly evened up a lot. Liberator range is going to be nice, though. Still, Vipers are always a good addition here. And the Hydra count, we've already seen how big of a fan of Hydraling Bait he is. The Hydra count is still big. Now, finally, for like the first time in this match, Zerg gets to be a little bit more aggressive. No orbital command, or no planetary rudder over here at this 4th base is going to cost ByuN. Yep. Say goodbye to your mineral line. Except for this one SCV. It did tank a Baneling hit, but apparently it lives. Even got healed up by a medevac. Alright. Liberator does get shut down over here, but this choke point is lovely for ByuN. Ooh, Hydras want a hug. Banelings also want a hug. I heard they give very good hugs. Yeah, and ByuN again gets forced back home. The economy here is really solid for Zerg, and that really is allowing him to just continuously send it. He needs a moment to sort of catch his breath a little bit. Honestly, this is that point, right, where you want to be aggressive, you want to spread creep, you want to keep everything going, but suddenly there's so much to manage. This is where your APM is always going to be limited, because there's always something more to do. And deciding what to prioritize is a difficult thing. No planetary fortress in this area at all is nuts, man. This is such a perfect spot for an orbital command, or for a planetary fortress, rather. Okay, that's one orbital command going down. Hydra's having a good time. This orbital here does get lifted. Nidus Network getting added into the mix. Creep spread moving forward as well over on the right side of the map. Marines a little bit too far forward. But the Liberator count is slowly growing. Yeah. And honestly, at this stage, the more Liberators, the better. Nidus Worm, though, can make that a little bit annoying. Nidus Worm in the back of the Terran's main, for example. Lurkers into the main base. Difficult for ByuN to clear out. Keep in mind, you can harass this particular base from the high ground. With Lurkers, siege tanks, whatever you want. That's going to be within range now. There's secondary fight going on the left. No Vipers available, though. ByuN still with a significant supply advantage. But this is a way to constantly keep striking back. Liberators trying their best to siege up in the right location. Not enough money in the Zerg's bank to really give up on it. Ooh, careful with the rocks, man. He wants to kill the rocks. He wants to trap the Zerg. I think that helps out GgMaChine, though. He doesn't really care about those rocks being down. Building armor. Yeah, high-sec auto-tracking is already done. But this game has now stabilized quite a lot. I am still preferring the situation for ByuN, especially with the previous game in mind. But the fact that we have managed to stop the avalanche, it is very impressive. New Zerg expansions are popping up left, right, and center. We have a new one right over here as well. Liberators. Ooh, not quite in the perfect spot here for a little bit. Maybe they were in the middle of repositioning. I'm not exactly sure. Banelings will be slipping on over to the left. That's another time that this mineral line dies because we refuse to go planetary fortress there. And I can't really fathom why. Why do we keep not making a planetary in this region? I understand Liberators can do most of the work, but planetary is really nice, man. Especially when the armor upgrade is done. GgMaChine also now taking a mirrored base over here at the bottom. And it seems like we're dragging this into another macro match. Kind of crazy. Just hearing the scream of the Night Worm at this point is scary for ByuN. Your eyes will immediately glance to the main base. 66 SCVs have died, 8 drones. And considering all the harassment that we had in this game, that being so massively in favor of the Zerg is kind of nuts. I really liked the early game for ByuN, but the follow-up has been, yeah, all in the hands of Zerg. Personal cloaking is going to come up for the ghosts. New hatchery taken over here at the bottom of the map too. The main thing that's missing right now for the Zerg, the final missing piece, is having a bank. Lurkers decide to unload from the worm. Hydras once more get within range of the Liberators. Okay. Still no planetary fortress here, man. Yeah, still no planetary fortress. It just makes it so much harder than it needs to be. GgMaChine breaks open the position. There is, in the meantime, though, a secondary fight going on as well on the right side, and that one does appear to go in favor of Terran. And I'm afraid we're going to see 2 bases going down here. This one can easily be sniped. I will say that that one was also a little overly ambitious, although, well, he's unloading the Nidus network to grab the units here. He wants to get the Metavex too. Liberator gets close, but not quite close enough. I wonder if he can keep fighting this. I think he could have, honestly. There's not really that much for the Zerg player or the Terran player in that area. It's because we have the majority of the Terran army now moving up the left side flank. Zerg using the creep advantage to get all the way around, but again, ByuN controlling the space beautifully. And I think resources lost-wise, this is going to inch more and more in favor of Terran now. Yeah. So we're already at a very significant lead there. Keep in mind that ByuN doesn't have the same economy. Income-wise, he's not going to be nearly as comfy. But this is starting to become very expensive. Oh, I love the additional couple of infestors here. Liberator, just to be annoying, prevent mining on this base as well. Hydra's going to try and go around the back. Got pulled back again to the front lines, it seems. There's too much going on. +3 attack. Okay. We have kind of forgotten about additional armory upgrades, which is a bit of a mistake. He made 2 armories, but then only got a single upgrade. That also implies, though, that ByuN is feeling the heat right now. Hydras from the high ground. This choke point is not working out nearly as well for the Zerg as the one on the left. Nice split there by ByuN. Pre-splitting a lot of the units already. That Infestor did not get value. And suddenly ByuN maxes out. GgMaChine not quite able to get to that point. He still has a lot of income, but he needs to be careful. ByuN has been invited to come and fight this, right? To come and just wrestle this very chaotic game. Creep spread, by the way, has now all joined together for the most part. Looks like a spore crawler was built over here to try and get rid of that Liberator, I would imagine. Now it's shooting away at an orbital command. Nice Widow Mine hit yet again. Queen is also available in this area. We have a burrowed Zergling for some reason. But ByuN's micro here is superb. He's doing a very good job. Yep. It looks to me, Blinding Cloud is nice. Good EMP as well. It looks to me that this base is likely to fall. GgMaChine, though, does not want to give up on it. He decides to even dash forward with the Hydras. Is that the right play? He's killed so many Liberators with Hydras alone. Terran reinforcements are headed in this direction for sure. ByuN, though, no longer worried about the left side of his bases. Oh my god, Zerg actually holds this. That's crazy. The Hydra movement is nuts, man. The only real vulnerability is this planetary fortress, but this is not an easy planetary to attack with Ling Bane. So yeah, I don't mind the idea of just moving all the SCVs, moving the Liberators to the right side of the map, so the entirety of the army can also be dedicating itself to the right side of the map. By the way, what the Spore Crawler started, it seems that the Hydralisks are finishing. Not bad. This base is still up and running. The drones do decide to get away, at least for a moment. Now they go back home. I think we just send it around, man. Liberator here in the upper left. Nice work here by ByuN. Throwing a bit of a curveball once more. Now forcing a ton of units from the Zerg to go around. Liberator count is big here, though. There's still 3 Vipers available. They now have energy again. EMP. Good EMP. Yep. Great EMP. 1 Liberator got abducted, but now they're going to have to go back. 22 drones, by the way. 24 drones have now died. That's the Liberator doing some work as well, but just across the board. So much damage being done. Dude, this one has 32 kills. 33, 34. Honestly, this is the MVP of the entire game. Every time the workers return, there's an extra kill. 39. 39 kills on 1 Liberator. So much freedom is being provided. Do you think he will be received a hero when he gets back home? Hey, there's more for you to kill, dude. Send it up to the upper left again. They keep doing this tug of war in the far bottom right-hand corner. GgMaChine somehow, some way, actually a bit more workers available than the opponent. ByuN is finally creating a chokehold on this base. And there it does fall. Here's the Viper showing up with energy once again. Blinding Cloud is nice, but the snipe is even better. Abduction there is pretty good. 2 abductions, but it's not gonna be quite enough. Brilliant series there. Really, really good StarCraft. ByuN pushed to the absolute limit by somebody who he may not even really be familiar with, right? A lot of StarCraft ultimately comes down to knowledge. ByuN's been playing this game since it released, right? Basically, when this game came out, when StarCraft 2 came out, ByuN was as old as GgMaChine is right now, right? Let that sink in for a little bit. You kind of just need a lot of experience and just a lot of knowledge in order to understand exactly what's going on. And obviously, when ByuN first started playing StarCraft 2 that is, he probably came from Brood War, right? Like, he'd already had been playing a lot of RTS games. So, even though it's ByuN that wins this time around, I'm very excited to see where GgMaChine is going to go in the future.